We are really close to being able to drop in this 500 horsepower NASCAR inspired LS that we built for the 85 C10. We just got to do something about this engine bay. So we are going to completely strip it down, rewire the whole thing. We're installing the electric fuel pump plus all the plumbing. We're also going to install the MSD box for our engine management and get a jump start on the wiring for that. For the engine, we got our motor mounts, brackets for the front accessory drive, get all that on, a couple other little odds and ends, and it'll be ready to drop in. Let's check it out. Don't get me wrong, this engine bay isn't that bad. When we built that orange small block for the C10, I went through and I did a lot of this stuff, rewired it, loomed it, painted it. We're more so coming through just to see what's what. A lot of this is going to get deleted to use and rewire for the LS. Also got the steering shaft and the steering box removed. This steering box has leaked forever, so I'm finally gonna rebuild that. It's a little messy, but we're gonna go through it. It's not too bad. These are the wires that were going to the starter and to the alternator. It is so overly complicated. Really what we're after here is there's these 4 bigger wires right here on the left side of the bulkhead connection. And these are what's gonna power the factory fuse panel. It's gonna give us ignition power. So those 4 big ones need to stay. We're gonna cut them maybe about here, just to have some length, and all 4 of them are gonna go to this big lug where we're getting battery power from the starter. Although I don't know what these 2 little wires do, I'm gonna leave some length on them just in case they're like a 12 volt switched, because that will come in handy right there. It's funny, only 6 wires coming out of the cab, and it leads to that. We got this harness drooped over the side. This is all headlights, turn signals, front end stuff, horn. We have the oil pressure sensor wire, and then the temp sensor wire. This little harness that comes under the brake booster goes to the back of the truck. That's all your tail lights, fuel level, stuff like that. This is my old tack signal wire, which we won't be needing anymore either. This here is the automatic shift linkage, and as you know, we will not be needing that anymore. And I think it's as simple as pulling out this cotter pin. I'm leaving all that. I ain't worried about it. And I'll rip these motor mounts out. Honestly, for a spray bomb, not bad. Here's the Holley fuel pump that we're going to be installing, along with all the other things that go with that. And the next thing we need to do is figure out a mounting location for this. I got the back of the truck up in the air so we can roll up underneath here. This is a dual tank truck. We do have a fuel tank on either side of the frame rail. The old saddlebags. This here is called the selector valve. This is all new. I went through all this, got it all working. All this stuff is just coming in from the tanks, and this switches whether you're pulling from the left tank or the right tank, or I totally just did that backwards. This is all we're concerned with right here is the supply line going to the front of the truck. The thing is with this Holley pump is it needs to be as close to the tank as possible and as low as possible. So realistically, we want this thing somewhere inside the frame rail, like right here. But as you can see, this pump is like way too tall to fit in between the C channel. What I'm getting at here is we're gonna have to make a custom bracket. That way we can mount this thing right here and also have it be level, because right here the frame kind of cuts down and then it gets level right there. I will measure outside to outside and we will go get some materials, make a bracket. Here's the bracket I came up with. I was going to use 4 M10 bolts to mount it, but up top here, it's going to be kind of awkward to get a drill bit in there straight. Luckily though, there is a factory hole up here that this M8 bolt fits into. So we'll have 1 at the top, 2 M10s at the bottom, and it should hold it pretty tight. Boop. Dang, gotta keep a grip on that thing. The pump needs to be level like this part. We're just gonna kind of eyeball this. All we gotta do now is get our mounting holes for the bracket for the fuel pump, make it parallel to that line we made. Gonna scoot it down as far as we can. That way we're as close to the bottom of the tank as we can be. Custom bracket complete, threw a coat of paint on there too, and we will get the pump mounted up. Made an extra hole right here for our ground wire. Keeps the wiring real nice and clean. Now what we can do is put in our fittings. So on this side we're just doing a 3/8 barb. And then on the front we have the NPT. I think it's 3/8 NPT to the 6AN male fitting. Now on our factory selector valve, we'll take off the supply line. Somewhere in line here, we're gonna put our 100 micron pre-filter. Got our 6AN fuel line here, and there's our pump where we put the fitting, and then this 6AN hose end will thread into that. Then we'll run a length of line up to about this point where I have another hose end, a 90 degree, and then a 45 degree. At which point we'll run another length of fuel line from there up along here, up to here, to about this point where we will have a 90 degree hose end with our secondary filter going into a fuel pressure gauge, and then from that 6AN male we'll go to the carburetor. Got one end done. Roll with me. We're gonna put this on loose, and we're just trying to get an idea how much length we need here. So got it laid out there, and now we're at this point, which is where we're gonna use our other 90 degree fitting. A little mark where to cut. I got it wrapped tight with electrical tape. Got our mark right there. Kind of clean, whatever. Now here's a trick that I wish I could take credit for, but socket, hose end fitting to get these things seated, and you just spin it on there. And it seats it. Perfect. Clean out all the crap from cutting it. I got this little pipe brush. We'll stick that in the vise. That's it. All there is to it. Got everything secure, and also got the 90 degree on there. Now we just need the hose going from here and then up to the secondary filter. I'll probably mount this thing a while because that's just gonna be pointing straight down at the fuel line. We close the hood quick and make sure that that's not. We'll actually probably want to mount it a little low. That'll work pretty good. Last piece of the puzzle. Brand new fuel line plumbed and ready for carburetor. Speaking of carbureted LS, we need ignition. This is the MSD 6014 LS series ignition controller. It looks a lot and maybe confusing, but let me lay it out. It's actually not that bad. Got two main harnesses coming out of it, and on the first harness we have a red and a black wire, and that is to power the box itself. So both of these will be going to the cab. And then following that, this is the harness for the coils themselves, each bank of coil rails. The second main harness has both wires going to the block. The gray one is the crank position sensor, and the black is the cam position sensor. And we got three colored wires. I'll just be using the blue and the gray. Gray is tack, and the blue is the two-step. And then lastly, on the left side of the box, there is a port to hook engine vacuum to, because this unit has an internal map sensor. They give us plenty of wire, so I am going to go ahead and mount the MSD box right away. We'll have plenty to work with, and we're going to be mounting it right in that neighborhood. So they include these little isolators that they want you to mount it to. Problem with that is you got to get to the back side of whatever panel you're mounting it to, which I could do, but that would involve taking off the wipers, taking off the cowl piece, taking off the plastic. We ain't got time for all that. They also include just sheet metal screws, so I guess they're okay with this method, being that they include it. So I guess to kind of help mitigate that, I got these rubber washers that we're going to stack up behind it. MSD box is in, and the next thing before the engine goes in, I wanted to get a big head start on wiring. Here's the custom fuse panel or relay panel that I'm going to be using. In true NASCAR fashion, everything will be ran on a switch. Two-step, start, ignition, fuel, and then both settings on the fan. All the top relays for the primaries are using 12 gauge wire, and then the two fan relays use 10 gauge wire. In the cab here, I got the glove box out so you can kind of see where I want to put this, right there on the air box. And like that. I also want to run this bus block for grounds. That way we just have a central grounding station, always confined to ground. Probably mount that right there, and then having a 4 gauge negative coming straight from the battery. We have the empty lug here. That's going to also be getting a 4 gauge positive wire directly from the battery too. And then of course we have all of our outputs that need to go to their various accessories. So what I'm getting at is we need access through the firewall. You can see this pin pushing through right there. That is this wire loom right there. We have all this room right here to pass wires through the firewall. Gathered together all the different kind of wires that are going to be going through the cab. And that's a pretty thick bundle. Instead, what I think I'm going to do is the two 4 gauge wires will get their own grommet like that. And then the bundle of random stuff will get one of these bigger grommets. All right, there we have it. We got our positive and negative coming from the battery. 2 grommets there, and then the bigger grommet there for everything else. For mounting the panel here, I'm not going to do that just yet. I'm going to wait until the motor is in and we can bring all of our leads in here, get everything wired up, button that up, and then mount it. So we're done in the cab for now. For the engine bay, still a lot of loose wires, but at this point, Just gonna wait till the motor is in. That way we can kind of custom length everything to fit perfect. The last thing before the engine goes in is the steering box, which is now completely rebuilt. One other thing I'm gonna be doing is the XJ steering shaft mod. This comes out of Jeep Cherokee XJs. Pulled this one out of the junkyard, and what that does is eliminates this rag joint that comes factory in Square Body's old GM stuff. It leaves a lot of slop in your steering. The XJ shaft uses universal joints. It tightens everything up. But I'm running out of time for all that. I'll do that sometime during the week before the next upload. Let's head over to the engine room. Now that the truck is ready for the engine, we can finish getting the engine ready for the truck. There actually isn't a whole lot left to do. We're gonna start right up front here and get the entire front accessory drive on. Balancer, water pump, power steering, and alternator. And we have the entire ICT billet bracket kit. So hopefully everything kind of fits nice and clicks right together. Starting with the balancer. We'll get this bolt out. For our balancer, we actually just have a standard replacement, and everything, balancer and accessories, are -2 Camaro spacing. And once the entire accessory drive is on, I will explain. Here we have the used balancer bolt, not the new one. This is gonna get torqued to 240 foot-pounds, which is a lot. I do have a cheap Amazon flywheel holding tool. It engages with the teeth and you bolt it to where the starter goes to hold it and keep the motor from spinning while you're tightening. Here we go. I don't know if I trust this engine stand. I trust it. Oh yeah. Now all that work just to take it right back off, and we'll install our new bolt. First pass on this is just 37 foot-pounds. Final spec is an additional 140 degrees. There she is. Now the fun part, we can start throwing on some of these ICT brackets. Starting with the alternator. Again, the -2 Camaro mount is what I'm gonna be using. But before that even, since we have an iron block LS, I had to first get this kit, the iron block support bracket, which also involved drilling and tapping an M10 hole right here. The aluminum blocks have this from the factory. Iron blocks, you gotta drill for it. You line up this bracket, bolt one to the head, one down there to the block, and you drill that hole out, run an M10 tap through there, get some threads going. Now we can install this bracket. This support bracket is going to use one of the timing cover bolts right here. With that on, we pretty much now have an aluminum block so we can use the Camaro mount. Well, slight complication, this barb fitting sticking out right here. I have that there so we can prime the oiling system. And with that there, the alternator doesn't fit. We'll have to circle back around to that, but we will install what we can here. This one would normally go through the alternator, and same with the bottom one. The water pump needs to get installed before it gets too crowded here, so I got the gaskets on there with our ARP bolts. Next, we'll do our Camaro power steering pump bracket. We have these 3 recessed bolts. Then on our OG LS1 power steering pump, we got that bracket, a little bolt right there, a couple long bolts. Now we just have the pulley itself to install in there, and it's just a press fit. Nice try, Diddy. We'll get some motor mounts bolted on here. These are the ICT square body motor mount brackets. They're marked left and right. Easy enough, 4 bolts each side. Brackets are on. And for the motor mounts themselves, these actually look like just factory replacement. One thing I am curious of though, it's supposed to put it in the same spot, just more of a trust but verify. 13 7/8 small block Chevy. Same deal. Cool. So that LS is going to sit exactly where the small block was, so the transmission's going to line up nice. For priming the oiling system, the valve covers are coming off first. That way we can see the rockers and when the oil starts to get up to them, which is pretty much when we know that we're done. So right here on the front of the block, there's normally an oil gallery plug. Remove that, put in a 3/8 barb fitting so we can get that hose on there. On the other end of the hose is this weed sprayer pump thing, which we're going to fill with our motor oil. Not only is this going to prime the entire oiling system and bearings, but it's also going to prime our brand new Melling oil pump. So I'm just going to sit here and pump this for a long time. At the back of the motor here is where our oil pressure sensor goes, and we're going to leave that open for now until we start to get oil out of there. Oh God, I don't have an oil filter in. Whoops. Shoot. Back to pumping. What a freaking coming out of? Oh, when did that happen? What a disaster. Oh no. Oil pressure sensor. Wasn't even pumping, I was just cleaning up. Anyway, continue pumping yet again, this time till we get oil at all the rockers. Watch these push rod holes. That is where it'll come out from. A little rotation. Still waiting on one rocker on this side. How are you doing over here? You're waiting on that one, that one, that one. All the rest have oil. All right, there goes my other rocker. How are you making out? You still waiting on a few. How about now? There we go. Okay, mess contained. Plug is back in, back yonder. And I threw the alternator on. Now, the alternator is gonna have to come back off to get the motor mount bolt in to drop it in the truck, but I just wanted to kind of test fit everything. Glad I did. Notice this here. That is really tight right there, that clearance. I mean, everything is free, but that's gonna be a hot wire. So we're gonna have to clearance something here to make sure that those don't touch. And coming around here, I was gonna install the starter a while, which goes right here. But our crank position sensor, that gray plug right there, that's gonna be kind of difficult to plug in if that is in the way. So we'll wait till that's in the truck also. On the water pump, I did a little modification here. These are the 2 ports for your heater core, and I plugged them for now. And to do that, it's pretty cool. You don't have to drill the holes out or anything. You just gotta pull out both of the fittings, and then you can just tap the holes and plug them right away, which I did. Also throw on the thermostat and housing, and threw the belt on there too, just to make sure everything fit. And looking at this right now just reminded me, straighten this out. This is how it was shipped. That's pretty good. One last thing to do on the stand. I was going to do as much wiring as possible, but since I'm not putting on the starter or the alternator, we don't have to worry about that. So just the coil harness, and as you can see, I got this side on, and it actually tucked in really nice. I was able to get some zip ties in here, clean all that up. Looks awesome. And for those, all I did was take the factory brackets that came with, took the little loom clips off, and freed the harness up. We can just plug all of them in, get that facing towards the back. Went just as good as the other side, nice and clean install. 2 more things with the motor and we will be ready for transmission. We got our 2 coolant sensors. The first one is from Classic Instruments. It is just like traditional sending unit for the autometer gauges that we're going to be using. And actually, I want that on this side, which will just plug into the factory harness. And then on the passenger side from Scram Speed is a coolant switch. So on that fuse panel that you saw earlier, we had fan low and fan high. Fan high is gonna be controlled with this thermal switch. So whenever the engine reaches 200 degrees, the fan will automatically kick on to high. Got this unit rolled over here along with the transmission. I completely forgot to mention, you guys, why I went with the Camaro spacing brackets. And it's honestly purely aesthetics. The truck bracket factory puts the alternator like way up here. It kind of looks ridiculous. So I wanted it to be a clean, compact package, which this definitely gives us. And because a lot of the inspiration is based on looks, I wanted you to be able to see the intake manifold and all the plumbing, the valve covers, the headers, and this setup here gives us a lot better view of all that. Now all we have left to do, get this engine off the stand, which I am happy to do. That thing is leaning front pretty hard. We're gonna get the transmission hooked up and this motor is gonna be ready to drop in. All right, we have got our rock crusher attached to the LS, got our clutch in there, all good to go. I did remove the shifter handle for obvious reasons, but this motor is ready to go in the truck. That is gonna be in the next episode. So that's gonna wrap it up for this one, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Take it easy. I'll see you in the next one.